Daw. I'm Thornbyte. How are you all? Happy Juneteenth, all Tatsukiri fans. Oh, that's a different button. We have a lot of different PNG models we could switch to, depending on who's fronting and what mood we're in. That was actually my jacuzzi, but don't mind that. Hi. Thank you so much for the raid, Banui. Were you playing Tatsukiri? What were you playing? So fucking cool. Uh, oh, the raid didn't pull me. Oh, I see. Threw me up. But now everyone's like Tatsukiri enjoyers. I do love me some Tatsukiri. For those less familiar, I'm Thornbyte. I use she, they, and they pronouns, and this is the Fluffbyte Entertainment System. We're plural critters, we're Therian furries, we're VTubers of the silliest caliber, we're anarchists who host a 18 plus, kink friendly, pro fiction, disabled, queer, awesomeness space, I guess. We like to say this is a safe space to get outside your comfort zone. Juneteenth, well, technically Juneteenth was now yesterday for us, but this is still the Juneteenth stream. Usually we do like a multi-day thing on like the 17th, 18th, and the 19th, but we really didn't have the energy or spoons for something like that this year. We've been talking about like black intersectional libertarian thought. We've been talking about what's been happening recently and how it connects to like liberation in the past, and like not just like black civil rights movements and stuff like the Black Panthers, but also organizing since then, and all sorts of stuff, which will be in the VOD later. But we've gotten to talk about a lot of different like leftist theory tonight. We've talked a lot about like black struggles, like whatever the context is usually, like whether that be, actually we didn't talk about that for VTubing, but just like everything, being of color also is harder in niche sub communities, even niche sub communities that are seen generally as really really woke, like say the furry community, which is, you know, a very queer community. And we queer solidarity in the furry community, I think, could be better. But I feel more comfortable in furry spaces than in non-furry spaces generally, so we try to make those spaces better. We've been playing games with black devs on the team. As outside of that, we like to amplify voices if we can. We really love indie games and stuff, so it's very much in our wheelhouse to be playing games that people may be less familiar with or never heard of, but we try to do some due diligence to find and amplify some games that were made by black devs or have black devs on the development team. And we feel really good about that. We've been talking about the nuances of that because this is a tradition we've been doing for a while, and it's taken some time to refine our process, as it were. Hello, Dell, fellow of the black. Hello, Fizzle. Hello, Banu, or whoever is fronting. Who's fronting your system? Lilith was making Tatsukiri materials. Oh, wait, making Tatsukiri? That's so cool. Wow. Actually, should um shout out. Hello, Pumpkin. Welcome to stream. Doki Nabi, that's a cool name. Very happy Juneteenth. Love your Pomni profile pic. Damn, this bitch packed. It was funny because like the break could have went on for just a little bit longer, and we were kind of taking some time to breathe so we don't like fully go manic because we just had like like 8 or 9 freshly baked chocolate chip cookies and a cup of coffee with cream. And we are ready to go for much longer. But we needed to make sure that we were centered. And it was like, raid! And I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So it was pretty exciting. It definitely gave me a spike of existence. I think that's, there we go. Playing art. Good job. I need to get back on knowing all my little twitchy stuff. We've been really bad at stuff. If people are noticing they have a lot more channel points than usual, we like just refunded all of them like we do every year because we are so backed up because we never individually actually clicked that we fulfilled stuff. Maybe we'll change that this year. Who knows? It's kind of late in the year to make New Year's resolutions, but here we are. I'm playing the online Pokemon card game. Can you play the Pokemon card game without spending money? Is that a thing? That'd be pretty cool. Oh, you have a game project? Nice. Are you joining are you in the Tatsukiri Game Jam? Cause we are. Let's see. We have a schedule here actually. Let's see. Okay, I can show you. We got through, we did the regular intro at the beginning, hours and hours ago. We talked about the contents of our Juneteenth stream tradition that we do every year. We play Arceus Chroma. We talked about Black game development and how hard it is to develop games, and marginalized people stuff don't get seen a lot, especially because of that. We talked about Black voices in gaming and how they elevate visibility, and like a 501c3 just about helping Black and BIPOC game developers have their games and projects be seen. We've talked about the No Kings protest. We talked about solidarity with Palestine. We talked about Cop City and how that connects with that. Talked about how we aren't free until we're all free. Took our break. Okay. We actually did talk about these games that we were excited about and Black Voices in Gaming. I think actually next, we're gonna play The Path, which we only recently found out was developed by a Black game dev. And it was a pleasant surprise considering we've been pretty big fans of it, but also like where some of us, especially me, are like Red Riding Hood coded, and so immediately it's like, yo, any game about being Red Riding Hood is extremely I have extremely eyes on it. I'm just gonna play one character. And then we're gonna talk a little bit about the developer after we're done playing. That's fucking loud. Do we still have the... We don't. I was hoping we still had the sound stuff up. Volume mixer. Let's see how that is. Probably much better. Oh, hey Noodle. Thank you, we are having a good time. When are you gonna get a panel below? A panel below? What do you mean by that? You challenged me to a Yu-Gi-Oh duel? Interesting, interesting. I don't have a deck ready though. Also, you said you were making a project earlier. Gotcha. Thank you for reminding me, being an airhead. It's so cool to see people participating in that jam. We're still sort of new to doing game jams. I say sort of new. If we actually finish, we'll be making our first visual novel, our first game ever. Well, we'll have made it. I think I want to play with... I'll play with Ginger. Tales of Tales present. Oh gosh. Normal brightness, I'll say sound volume. Oh! Okay. Wow, a bird. So, you have the option to not stray from the path. This is a game that is very much a reminder of that thingy where it's like, even the freedom you feel in a video game has been like accounted for, even if you think you're resisting. Like in what's it called? Like the Stanley Parable. even when you think you're resisting, you're playing right into the developer's hands in a way. Because you're doing what they've planned. And they probably are funneling you or have thought about your psychology and how you're going to react to their world or the stimulus. The premise of this game is that, like Little Red Riding Hood, you go on a path to Grandma's house. And if you are like a normal fucking person, I guess, you stay on the path and something happens when you get to Grandma's house. And the game really actually exists in most of the game exists outside of going on the path. Because who is Red Riding Hood without a wolf? There's a wolf for each of the sisters if they stray from the path. I know this game. It was a meaningful experience. I've seen a video essay about it, and it really, well, it made us aware of the development. And actually know more about the game, because we had kind of just seen it around, because it was just on Steam for a while. And it definitely has a style that is inviting. Well, inviting for someone like us. White demonic looking lot bunny with a mix of poison ghost, a fighting ghost, and poison typing. Ooh. I'm on rails. Where am I? Oh, I'm going up the stairs. Alright. Rocking chair. Grandma! Grandma! Grandma? Grandma? Oh, there's a wolf in here with Grandma. That's so cool. I'm sure Grandma is happy to have this model granddaughter here. Failure. Rank D. You know where grandmother lives. So, being good, doing what you're told and what you're expected to do is not what you're supposed to do. So now we have a basis expectation. Now let's get a little bad. I'm so good at disobeying. I like our belts. Punky. Or emo-y? I feel like she got those belts at Hot Topic. I don't see anything that looked like shopping carts around here. If I just stand still and somebody approaches me from behind, I can feel it. I can simply feel it. Nobody can fool me. Dilly-dallying. Thank you, Pumpkin. Your life will be filled with happiness and sadness. And hopefully, moments of tranquility. comes back. I'm still exploring. She's a nice girl, don't worry. I'm a bad influence right now. A barbed wire fence? Very, I don't know art, but I know what I like sort of pose. A crib? Okay. You cannot stop me. I am never still. Barbed wire crib. I think that was a different sister's face. Maybe she's associated with the car. The music gets more perilous when you run. I don't know if you've noticed. Would you walk around barefoot in the forest? It's easier the more used to it you are. Especially when you're stepping on unexpectedly wet ground, it can be a little much. Maybe practice in a field or at a picnic. Or the park, I guess. It doesn't have to be a picnic. Trying to remember the last time we went on a hike. Maybe March. We're lucky enough to live near some nice wildlife. Although that can also be a double-edged sword. Storms recently have been more dangerous because they've been knocking over trees. Storms pulling trees out of the ground, falling on houses. It's been really scary. campsite. It looks like there's a red tent too. Oh, stuff in the shack left. Let's get it and light that fire. Comrades, we're staying the night. I love that she said comrades. There's always a door, and it can be either open or shut. The difference is me. I'm faster than the rest. I'm faster than the fastest flying, the quicker than a bug. Now you see me. Now you don't. The original hillbillies will be proud. I wonder if that implies their sister's in there. This game kinda has tank controls. A hat and an axe. I think these these axes are like for hunting. can't seem to run right now. There we go. I can probably fake some crop circles just by running around as fast as I can. There's things that I see that nobody else does. Oh? Wait, she has a red dress instead of the white one. To be surrounded by crows and hugged from behind my mysterious girl. It's insane that she's my wolf, I guess. And why am I in the middle of the road? It's raining. What happened to the idyllic field? Oh, Grandma's not mad. All that energy from before. What felt good before has now become a crash out, I guess. Rain comes out, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. And the rain drops up my windows, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it would all be great. With the picture on my wall, it reminds reminds me that it's not so bad. It's not so bad. And I wanna thank you for giving me the best days of my life. And I wanna thank you for giving me the best days of my life. Totally vibe with this feeling. Having strayed from the course, stayed out too late, parents wondering where you are. Even if you don't regret it, still it's heavy on your shoulders as you go through the front door. Not sure how folks will react. This is really punctuated by the slow walk. Gone is that cheery running. Gosh, this feels oddly like a fucking walk of shame. I think Grandma's house is a little bit different. Grandma's house has Silent Hill Rest. Oh, the rocking chair has powers like that girl. Oh, it's that bed. I thought it was a crib before. Oh! Why am I tiny? Am I like a bug? Or a snake? I feel like I got skinamaranked. A tiny door. Dallas to my wonderland. This is a path, alright. Like barbed wire cutting you. only plan to play one sister per headmate, I guess? Maybe? But we definitely didn't intend on playing the whole game tonight. Just giving a sample. That's the game in a nutshell. Everyone has different experiences in the forest. And everyone's grandma's house is, let's just say, different. Pathing it up. Let's go to the store page, explore a little bit. There is one rule of the game, and it needs to be broken. There is one goal, and when you attain it, you die. There's one rule of the game, and it needs to be broken. There's one goal, and when you attain it, you die. 6 sisters live in an apartment in the city. One by one, their mother sends them on an errand to their grandmother, who is sick and bedridden. The teenagers are instructed to go to the grandmother's house deep in the forest and, by all means, to stay on the path. Wolves are hiding in the woods, just waiting for little girls to stray. But young women are not exactly known for their obedience, are they? Will they be able to resist the temptations of the forest? Will they steer clear of danger? Can they prevent the ancient tale from being retold? The path is a game about growing, about changing, about making choices and accepting the consequences of those choices. A game about playing and failing and embracing life, perhaps by accepting death. The Path is a short horror game inspired by older versions of Little Red Riding Hood. Set in the modern day, The Path offers an atmospheric experience of exploration, discovery, and introspection, the unique form of gameplay designed to immerse you deeply into its dark themes. Every interaction of the game expresses an aspect of the narrative. The 6 protagonists each have their own age and personality and allow the players to live through the tale in different ways. Most of the story, however, relies on your active imagination. The Path is designed with accessibility in mind. There are no ticking clocks or monsters to defeat, no hard puzzles, or will halt your progress. Most activities in the game are entirely optional and voluntary. The player has all the freedom in the world to explore and experience. While Path does not contain any graphic violence or sexuality, it does allude to these themes. The overall melancholy mood of the game and the potential upsetting course of the events make the Path unsuitable for children, despite its origins in fairy tales. The Path is decidedly a game for the mature mind. The game features a complete real-time 3D environment that can be explored through third-person navigation. The characters in this virtual world, including the player's avatars, are governed by a form of artificial intelligence that gives them some autonomy. As a result, nobody knows exactly what you'll encounter in your journeys. Next to the multi-layered style graphics, the Path features a continuous soundtrack composed by goth rock diva Jerobe at Swans. In fact, there's hardly any sound effect in the game. Instead, the music is continually changing according to what is happening in the game. Yeah, when you run, it gets all, like, scary. Like the behaviors of the characters, the music, too, is never exactly the same twice. For a satisfying experience, it takes about 6 hours to complete the game. About an hour per girl. Gotcha. Yeah, this game even has a demo if you want to try it out. 2009. It's an old game. And it may not be easily playable for long because of like Windows updates and stuff. Developers even at one point warned about that, and play it before you have a computer that won't play it anymore. You need to find like a fucking PC emulator, like we said before, we were a really big fan of the concept of this game and thought that it had a lot of artistry to it before we even played it. I was really curious about it, and we picked it up and wanted to make a big deal about playing it, and here we are. And we ended up playing it today partially because we found out so recently that, oh yeah, one of the developers is black. It's like a husband and wife duo, which is reminding us of another game that we highlight at this stream. But irregardless, uh, when we found out, we thought, yeah, let's talk about that developer and find out a little bit more about her, because especially she's been in the games industry for a while, or she was, because the devs of the game are still big artists, lifelong artists, but they do not. Ooh, excuse me. But they don't make video games anymore. Their last commercial video game wasn't commercially successful, and they got a lot of negative takes. I mean, the game is, I guess, in a fair amount of ways, like a little clunky. Um, it's a little less straightforward than your average game that I guess you could call a walking simulator, but not by much. It's certainly approachable. And there's definitely a lot of like moods and types of gamers that it probably wouldn't appeal to. And so it will definitely have a niche audience no matter what, as well as the other games that these devs made. But I think the negativity they faced in the criticism, especially because of the subjects of their games, I would not be surprised if was charged in a way that was not very constructive. You know, Gamergate and shit. Let's see. I have some stuff. Okay, so the path actually has its own Wikipedia page because duh. Psychological horror art game developed by A Tale of Tales. Originally released for the Microsoft Windows operating system on March 16, 2009 in English and Dutch. Later ported to Mac OS X by Trans Gaming Technologies. Yeah, it probably doesn't have to do with trans people. It's inspired by several versions of the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood and by folklore, tropes, and conventions in general. Set in the contemporary times, the player can choose to control one of 6 different sisters who are set one by one to the errands to their mother to see their sick grandmother. The player can choose whether to stay on the path or wander where wolves are lying in wait. Talking about development. The path was announced on the Telltale's game design forum on March 16, 2006, under the working title 144. On the pattern of the first stated on hiatus Tale of Tales 8, chosen for universal language independent nature of Arabic numerals, the number originally referred to the 6 24-hour periods of the 6 days in which the game was set. But the release version refers to the 144 coin flowers. Reception. Ian McCraffy of VideoGamer.com called The Path a hugely significant work in terms of what a video game can be beyond the realms of a throwaway entertainment, and potentially a seminal moment in video games. He claimed that it will be years before a game made by the big budget software houses like Ubisoft or EA is brave enough to attempt anything remotely similar. But the path shows promising signs that the gaming is starting to grow up. Heather Chaplin of Filmmaker Magazine pointed out how uniquely feminine the path is. For me, the path is about what a remarkably fine line is that separates childhood from adulthood, innocence from cynicism, and how utterly not black and white most things in life are. Tim Martin of the Daily Telegraph cited the path as a recent example of a vigorous experimentation with technique and narrative. He likened it to an Angela Carter novel, a siphon through the Sims. don't know if I would compare this to The Sims. It feels like the person doesn't have a lot of reference points for video games, but I appreciate the they had good things to say about it. Justin McElroy and of Indegadget commented on gameplay mechanics. You get one instruction in the game that you have to disregard it. That's the kind of experience we're talking about here. Once you leave the path, you'll find innumerable creepy and beautifully rendered experiences to take part in, but you're never really given any guidance as to what the point of the objective of it all is. Basically, it's gameplay in the abstract. Mike Gus of Tap repeatedly called the path a sort of anti-game, a game turned inside out in service to something deeply personal, human, and disturbing. John Walker of Rock Paper Shotgun remarked, I kind of don't like the game, but noted that this is not a criticism. If anything, it's the highest compliment I could pay it. While there's spooky woods, abandoned playgrounds, creepy dolls, and many other familiar themes of horror, these offer no scares. For me, the horror comes from what appears to be the most abhorrently pessimistic presentation of adolescence. Well, I mean, if you're looking through adolescence through a retrospective lens filled with trauma, yeah, it's what's gonna happen. But I don't know. Pessimistic makes it pessimistic makes it sound like it is not true to the experiences that people have, especially femme people have, like trying to make their way in the world, especially growing up. I mean, I guess you could sort of call it. I guess you can call it pessimistic, but it feels, in a way, it feels almost black and white to put it that way. The context is important. Stephen Poole of Edge uh, oped, append that the game is supremely boring collection of FMVs with pretensions to interactivity that quickly wears out its joke about control and becomes a tedious stab of nihilistic whimsy. This person really didn't want to engage with it on its own terms. Yet noting the game features a laborious Lynchian surrealism, and that in its onery and precious way, the path is a triumph of atmosphere, coming much closer to the cruder shocks of games such as Silent Hill or Bioshock than a dramatization of what Ernest Jensch and Freud analyze as the uncanny in literature. Insane that they're comparing the path to Silent Hill and Bioshock as an insult, because they're seeing the path as failing to live up to classic literature. Fascinating. Yeah, everyone got point refunds. As in progress alpha stage version of the path was nominated for the Excellence in Visual Arts after being exhibited in the Independent Games Festival in 2008. The game also has been honored with 2 awards in Balabido, Spain's Hoplay International Video Game Festival. The game won Best Design and Best Sound. So when we first found out about the game in more detail and saw a video essay talking about it, I think it was presented or framed in a way that it was outsider art, because it was made by people who are primarily artists and came to gaming because they thought it might be interesting. But reading a Wikipedia article, at least for Andrea Harvey, seems, at least at a glance for me, to paint a different picture. But we'll see. Andrea Harvey and Michael Samian are artists who collaborate on creating art video games. From 2018, who collaborate on creating art video games. From 2018 to 2024, Harvey was professor of games at the Kolsukia Castle, a college of fine arts in Germany. Andrea Harvey is an American artist who was born in Indianapolis in 1971. During her high school years, she developed an interest in sketching and painting, and while at the Parsons School of Design University, she created art using Photoshop and experimented with different materials. Originally wanting to study painting, and she ultimately studied sculpture. She graduated with a BFA in sculptures from Parsons School of Design. Michelle Samian is a Belgium artist and programmer who was born in 1968 in Pupperidge, Belgium. Well, maybe they're not a couple. They just collaborate together. I guess we'll see. We'll see. It'll continue on. In 1995, Harvey founded Entropy 8, a website experimenting with interactivity and the functions of net art. In 1999, she merged her site with Zupper, a fellow artist and designer, Michael Samian, whom she subsequently married. Okay, yeah. To create Entropy 8 Zupper. During this period, they created works such as God Love Museum, a website that showcased their storytelling strengths by merging biblical stories with narratives drawn from their own lives and contemporary culture. Harvey has also designed websites for Virgin Records America and PBS. Harvey Samian left net art for video games in the early 2000s. When they felt that the web was becoming too much like a shopping mall. I find this very ironic considering how the internet is now. In 2002, they founded Tale of Tales, an independent game development studio in Germt, Belgium, with the goal of creating games for greater emotional engagement and imaginative richness than the kinds of things that were being made from the then major demographic for teenage boys. For a while, Adria was living in New York and Michael in Belgium, and during this period they created Wirefire, a multimedia software interface that allowed them to communicate in a way that they considered less predictable and more creative than either chat or video. Harvey and Samian work as a team, and although each has areas of specialization, Harvey in computer graphics and 3D modeling, Samian in programming and sound, together they have produced 8 art video games, including Fatale, The Graveyard, The Path, and The Endless Forest. They have become known for a distinctive visual style and unusual approaches to both narrative and gameplay. After the commercial failure of Sunset, their most recent game, the pair gave up on video games to devote the rest of their lives to art. Their first post-games project was Cathedral in the Clouds. Samian converted to Catholicism in early 2021. That must have been an interesting choice. In 2016, Harvey developed an interest in 3D printing because of her passion for creating 3D models for video games. She was able to combine it with virtual reality installations. Wow, that's pretty cool. Games. The Graveyard is a simple game in which the player takes the role of an old woman in a graveyard who walks around before eventually leaving. In the full version of the game, there's a small chance that the old woman will die before leaving. The Path, inspired by some version of the fairy tale Little Red Riding Hood, players must choose one of 6 sisters as an avatar to make their way to their grandmother's house. If they wander the path, they'll encounter the wolf, and the phase of the game that takes place once the player reaches the grandmother's house changes substantially. When all 6 sister characters have been played to the point of encountering the wolf, a 7th character becomes playable, a mysterious little girl in a white dress. For this game, Harvey modeled and experimented with polygons using a game engine. The Endless Forest is a massively multiplayer online game. They made an MMO without set goals. Oh, in which all the players exist as deer in a quiet forest. Players are represented in the game not by usernames but by icons of their deer avatars. They may not communicate with each other using language, text, or voice, but instead must use the deer's body language. A unique feature of this game is that it can be played as a screensaver when users are not active in their computers. I want to be a deer sometimes. Harvey and Simeon's most recent game, Sunset 2015, has players in a fictional South American city in the midst of a revolution. Unlike in many games, the player is not a warrior or a savior, but a housekeeper, a strategy that focuses attention on the difficult lives of civilians under the conditions of war. The protagonist of the game is Angela Burns, an African American engineer who immigrated from the United States to the fictional South American town of San Babylon in the Republic of Acuria in search of a good life, and instead wound up cleaning the ultra-modernist penthouse of a wealthy man in a war zone. The game takes place in the 1970s, and the artwork for the game is sparingly minimalist. As a housekeeper, the player is kept inside the apartment and allowed to carry out mostly small actions that do not seem to hold much promise of changing things, such as writing notes or switching the employer's radio station to a pirate channel. The team funded the game partially through a Kickstarter campaign. Tales of Tales ultimately characterized Sunset as a commercial failure. They also have exhibitions, the most recent of which was in 2023. In Aria Harvey's presentation of works of 2021, sculpture exists in both the digital and physical realms. Symbolic imagery evoking concepts of memento mori is found in the skull, a face, a rose, and a braid. Nature, beauty, and death. Using self-punculature, Harvey is inserting an African American woman into art history, an overdue revision of the narrative. They got an award. The team award include the Emerging Grant 1999, Prize for Excellence in Online Art 2000, European Innovative Game Awards 2008, the Creative Capital Emerging Fields Award 2006, and the Advanced Prize in Innovative Game Design 2010. I think it's interesting to note that despite the awards, despite the accolades, despite like critical recognition, they still bowed out from video games, both of them, because it is hard. And your success is not, it's not based on meritocracy. It's just not. You put in a lot of work. That doesn't necessarily mean people are gonna resonate with your game on a high enough to a high enough degree that it's like sustainable. Andrea Harvey has been breaking the internet for 3 decades. From Art News. This is from 2024, actually. Digital art has consistently made headlines over the last few years. The onslaught of NFTs to revisiting pioneers in the field to showering tech artists is taking the world by storm. Given this recent upswing in interest, there's still much to discover, particularly the artists who have been quietly pushing the bounds of formats and mediums for decades. Andrea Harvey is one such exemplar. If you've never heard of her, you're probably not alone. Harvey began with her foray into digital art as the internet was developing in the early 90s, right before it boomed. Though she studied sculpture at Parsons School of Design in New York, she was drawn into all things digital, a self-described obsession that drove Harvey to experiment with a number of digital formats that span photography, sculpture, drawing, and video, yet her works are hardly static. In the digital world, Harvey is known for her artistic experimentations on the website entropy8.com, as well as the independent game studio Tales, which pronounced such games as The Endless Forest, which, with both endeavors, she is driven by the ability to craft narratives that have personal interaction in the digital realm, a thought line that continues in her practice even today. In fact, Harvey met her collaborator and partner, Mikhail Cyan online. With digital art, there's nothing to fear here, Harvey said from her studio in Rome. She's been living with Simeon since the start of the pandemic. The lockdown, she said, had a lot to do with where I am today. Same, girl, same. Her breakthrough in the mainstream art world came only in 2021 with a solo show in at Bitform's gallery in New York, but lockdown restrictions prevented her from attending. For the exhibition, Harvey created physical sculptures like Fauna 2018 and Morena 2021. Bursts with a bear, uh, which bear resemblance to both the mythical creatures they represent and the artist herself. She also created these objects as virtual versions that were available online and augmented in augmented reality, so that anyone around the world could experience her work. She additionally gave virtual tours to show the people in person and online. I felt like it was something that had been trained for me my entire life. Wonder why she didn't just put on VR chat. Or put on VR chat as well, I should say. While the hype surrounding NFTs has been declining, the history of digital art has become fertile terrain for the art world, wherein path-breaking artists like Harvey are finding the spotlight. Harvey's first institutional survey is now in the view of the Museum of the Moving Image in New York through July 7th, titled My Veins Are the Wires, My Body is the Keyboard. The exhibition showcases more than 40 works from the past nearly 4 decades, including her net-based interactives, video games, and AR sculptures. Harvey's earliest experiments with digital processes began with photography as she moved between darkroom manipulations and hand embellishments. JV, a 1995 print from a suite of 3 related works, shows sections of a floating head mashed together among an imagined psychedelic landscape, overlaid with doodle-like digital marks. Mike Sabato, from that same series, is split into 3 sections, showing part of the titular singer-songwriter's head. In one panel, she looks at a vast landscape with an astronaut floating in space, and a second panel below Sazabo's head is a repeated digital houndstooth pattern of a face, and parts of which have been filled in, which may seem stylistically different from one another, as well as current works. These photographs demonstrate Harvey's early processes of fascination with the digital, but Harvey soon followed later that same year with Entropy8.com, which has been reconstructed from the exhibition. Many of Harvey's key works, dating to the 1990s, are relatively inaccessible today, as advancements in technology have spurred their obsolescence. Digital art nonprofit Rhizome helped bring a number of them back to life through an emulation system that is showing these old works in the exhibition in their original contents. Imagine having to emulate a digital art exhibit. That's wow. As well as the original hardware and wiring, according to Dragon Espadachte, Rhizome's preservation director. In organizing the show, Regina Harasi, MOMI's associate curator of media arts, said she wanted to present the breadth of Harvey's OVA in a way that is brazenly interactive and primarily shown on historical hardware. The process of creating these local emulations, wherein the work was initially made to be in a Netscape 4 browser and a Windows 98 operating system, and having to emulate the environment on a CRT monitor from 1999, takes a certain kind of knowledge, skill set, and labor. That's true. More broadly, Espinaked said Harvey's uncompromising artistic vision, expressed on media and technology that at the time was probably not ready for it, is really striking. Coming from a background in conservation herself, Harasli said, "It was really important for me to show all the video games and the majority of web-based art in an interactive way, and the way that it was meant to be experienced." She continued, "I did that not only to educate younger generations on the sculptural and aesthetic specificities of, say, 90s web, but also in doing that felt it stays true to the integrity of the artworks. Games like The Endless Forest, for example, can be played both online and in the museum gallery. Though Harvey's interest in digital experimentation has been and continues to be an important aspect of her practice, she was never interested in it for the sake of simply using digital tools. From the beginning, Harvey was instead using these digital tools to explore more complicated topics, like intimacy. I wasn't creating work that was about technology, or about the internet, or about computers, but about the humans using the computers. Myself using computers. My body in front of the computer, she said. This line of inquiry continued as she made video games to explore personal narratives, not unlike a book, wherein users are thrown into this body virtually and have to feel their way through the story. There's also tightly melding them with a virtual character. I feel really that way when going into grandma's house. Her drawings and sketchbook, also on display in the Vertine, offer another level of intimacy by showing not only the process but the artist's hand. One fills seemingly random text and numerical doodles, while another shows more architectural or structural studies. Harvey's sculptures take a step further, following a similar ideology that ends with bodily forms, often her own, and continually transforms them. Her ongoing piece, Echo 2018, is a holographic monitor based on a scan of herself. It explores her slow transformation into a cave-like copy, with the story of Echo, the mountain nymph from the ancient Greek mythology who is doomed to repeat others, serving as a backdrop. While Echo exists as a digital work, Harvey also 3D prints the renderings in various materials and iterations, a back and forth process between the artist and the computer. It's constant circulatory between putting myself in and taking something out, like finding the organic way inside and outside of the screen, Harvey said. In this transmutation between formats and forms, new characters are also born. As at the heart of each iteration, digital and otherwise, is the question of humanity despite decades of contemporary society's own back and forth between self and technology. The digital, no matter how fundamental in our lives today, still remains elusive to many at best. In taking up digital media as a medium in its own right, Harvey says she hopes to show people that it's not so strange, that this is all perfectly compatible. I feel like that is a weird simplification of humans interfacing with technology, especially right now. I also feel weird with like the mention of NFTs. It made me think that maybe this publication cared about NFTs for some reason. Because I don't know, the tech industry to me feels kind of fucked up and evil. But we also have Telltale's website, so let's see what they say about themselves in their own words. Tale of Tales is the video game development studio of Andrea Harvey and Michael Samian. We used to work out of Ghent, Belgium, but now live in Rome, Italy. While we stopped releasing commercial games in 2015, we still continue to support our work as best we can, and we continue exploring the wonders of technology in the pursuit and the beauty with Song of Songs. Our main focus at the moment is a remake of the very first release, The Endless Forest. Progress can be followed in the development log. So you're trying to get more people into Endless Forest. That's interesting. Next to that, we're continuing work in the contest and ongoing Cathedral in the Clouds project. Follow our Patreon to get behind the scenes information. But here we are. Probably why it got mentioned in that article, because They're doing NFT shit. For clarification, in case people didn't know, fuck NFT shit. I'm not for that shit. I hate NFTs. I hate AI. I don't know why she's doing this. Um, it makes me very disappointed. A generative NFT inspired by historical ornamentation, specifically by the beautiful monstaches that contain the Blessed Sacrament during Assudic adoration. I'm dying. NFTs are a scam. I'm glad the Endless Forest is free. I will say that I do feel like the path is worth it. I just ugh. I did bury the lead here because then it just kind of immediately sort of tail dives because I was feeling so good and giving these accolades, and this is what we were feeling like when we were researching earlier today, and it was like, oh wow, developer is black, and when we went like at one point from going, oh damn, this is so awesome, I'm so inspired, wow, oh look up to her, and then immediately NFTs, god damn it. It's like Eric Andre or something. Well, I will hold her to a higher standard than I will hold Eric Andre, but still. I am very disappointed when people in marginalized communities get into NFTs. Also, start doing NFTs in 2024. I think is a little. It's not. Oh, I wouldn't call it smart. But yeah, Path. The Path is a great game though. Okay, I've been talking about black devved games. So I want to talk about another game that we were excited for. We talked about Black Voices in Gaming earlier in stream, and we mentioned it especially in the context of how it elevates Black creatives and BIPOC creatives, and helps people succeed. They help sometimes fund games by black devs or games with studios that have black devs on the teams. Um, they are like definitely helping BIPOC folks in the video game industry have more resources, and they're trying to see them thrive, which is great. One game that we've been really, really, really excited for that we are uh, hoping to see at some point is She Dreams Elsewhere, which is a turn-based RPG maker, I'm pretty sure, and is very much inspired by stuff like the Mother series and say Yume Nikki. Um, it certainly has me thinking of comparing it to Amori in a number of ways. You are canonically in a coma. It's a really interesting game. There hasn't been a public demo of it for a while. I think we did a stream of the demo that was available at the time. Literally the first year we were ever streamers before we even like did VTubing technically or have VTuber models or even like reactive PNGs or whatnot. It's been so long, and since we talked earlier about like how many projects fail and how hard it is to finish a game, especially for a small indie dev, and how marginalized creators have the deck stacked against them, I think it is relevant to, well, highlight this game, because I do hope that it comes out. And this is the last official news that was that the developer mentioned about it, as far as we know. And this was last year's Black Voices in Gaming. Yeah. Is this supposed to be this quiet?
Question.
Oh, okay.
What was the worst nightmare you've ever had?
I don't think I
Now
can say
imagine
it
that
on
you're
stream.
stuck in that nightmare. No escape, no way out, no way to wake up. Naturally, you're probably gonna freak out, which is totally fine, pretty justified. It's okay to not be okay. But
It's
the thing
okay to not
is,
be okay.
when you're not okay, how do you move forward? And that is the question at the heart of She Dreams Elsewhere.
Something went wrong. She didn't dream here.
Way out, no way to freak out. Which is totally fine, pretty justified. It's okay to not be okay. But the thing is, when you're not okay, how do you move forward? And that is the question at the heart of She Dreams Elsewhere, a surreal adventure RPG based around dreams, nightmares, and finding hope in the darkness. You play Estalia, trapped in a twisted dreamscape where she must confront her inner demons, unravel how she got here, and, if she's lucky, uncover a way to finally wake up. It's a deeply personal story that explores real-world themes such as mental health and self-identity, blended in strategic turn-based combat, mind-bending levels, and a visually striking world that's just begging to be explored. If this is your first time hearing about the game, welcome. Glad to have you here. And if not, you might be thinking, Davion, it's been a good few years now. Wasn't this supposed to come out like 5 pandemics ago? And you're right, it was. But I'm terrible at time management, and so here we are all these years later.
Valid.
Look, I know it's been a long time, but I poured every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears into this game, into making it something truly special. It's not done yet, but we're in the final stretch, and the game will finally be in your hands soon. She Dreams also will be launching on PC, Xbox Game Pass, and Nintendo Switch sometime soon. In the meantime, if you like what you see, go ahead and give that wishlist button a little smooch, tell all your friends, and follow us on social media for future updates. Until then, thank you all for the love and support. Have a safe and happy holiday season, and I will see you in the new year.
And that was the last update. And I think that, especially with him recognizing that it's been a long time, and game development has been a lot, I think that it's hard to face your audience sometimes. I think even OmoCat mentioned that in their letter about like why Amori took so long, and even talked about like, you know, sleepless nights, crunching themselves, like sacrificing so much for it. And I think that I was thinking about that and thinking about showing this trailer, not just because we are fans of She Dreams Elsewhere and we want to see it succeed and we want to make more people aware of its existence, but we looked at the comments, and when we saw dead game, I wanted to scream. We mentioned about how World of Horrors dev didn't do any updates for a year, and people were saying that he was dead, right? There's so many people with like a pessimistic view on the internet, obviously, for so many reasons, and it's just, it doesn't help. Shit like this does not fucking help, and we just kind of hated it. And just thinking about all the things that stacked against developers, thinking about how hard it is to get shit made. I don't know. I wanted to highlight the fucking, like, look at the fucking pressure he's under. I mean, and it's like the fact that even setting up the deal with like Microsoft that it would be on Game Pass means that, you know, like there's companies to appease. Probably a publisher. I think it's gonna be a humble game, possibly. Like, there's a lot riding on the success, at least in a general amount. And I think that small devs, especially marginalized ones, don't just deserve support, but like some fucking positivity. And there's positivity in this, in these comments. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I feel like, especially how our brain works and in our experience with stuff, like, I don't know, you get those good comments, but then you're also gonna linger on, and the fucked up thing is, the more you dwell on those negative comments, the more you're likely to, well, be in a space where you take longer to finish or even want to quit because you're not seeing that positivity and you feel like you're being torn down. Not fun. Not fun at all. Going back to just chatting. Would you believe me if I said my stomach hurts a little bit? Which is not surprising since we ate like 9 chocolate chip cookies. I think there's a good time to break off for a shorter break because I do have that tummy ache. I'm gonna take my gastrointestinal pill. Hopefully that'll help me out. When we come back, we'll probably have switched, and someone else will jump on. Probably Punk or maybe Mocha again. We'll have to see. Hopefully, this break won't be nearly as long as the last one, but I gotta take care of myself and, you know, disability and executive function and all that. And we still got a fair amount of stream ahead of us. We got one more demo to play, one visual novel that we may play in full, and another game we'll play at least maybe like an hour of, or the first chapter of, or something, just to get a sense of it. And we'll also be talking a little bit more about like that whole thing we were talking about like what counts, and like bigger companies with a smaller amount of black rep on the teams, and how that sort of does or doesn't shake out. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being in the corner of Fluffbyte.